Alright, just to introduce myself, my name is Ibraheem Francis, and first off, I'm a network engineer, but I'm also the creator of a network content website called routercoach.com. And this is where we coach and mentor network engineers who have gaps in their knowledge on how they can practice and review certain technologies until they're confident enough to either take a certification, or maybe they need it for progression in their job, or maybe they just want to add it to their CV. But who am I and why should you listen to me? Well, as I said, I'm a network engineer. I've been a network engineer for the past 16 years. I passed my CCIE in 2014, my CCIE in service provider, and I've worked for some pretty large companies where I've seen quite a bit of stuff. I've worked for Cisco more than once, Virgin Media, who are a service provider here in the UK, again more than once. I've worked for AT&T, I've worked for Reckitt Benckiser, you know those people who make Seal It Bang, and they make those really nice candles that seem to come out every festive season. But more than that, this website is something that I actually use myself. It's not just for network engineers, I use it as a reference point for myself. Maybe I'll be working on a contract and they say, oh, have you ever done VXLAN on a Nexus or on a Juniper switch? I will go back if I don't remember and I will use this as a reference point. Or maybe they'll be like, oh, have you used the ASA to configure a virtual firewall with dynamic NAT, but on the ASDM? Wow, okay. So this is something that I've also covered on the Router Coach network. Now, there are two main sources of inspiration or motivation that really stand out for me on YouTube. The first is Patrick Bet-David. Specifically, he's got a video called The 20 Rules of Money. And the second guy is Alex Hormozi. At the moment, I'm just inhaling everything that he says. I find that his information is really valuable and succinct in how to progress yourself in business. But let's go back to Patrick Bet-David. I might cover Alex Hormozi in a future video, but Patrick Bet-David, his first rule of money is making money is just a game. And this kind of resonates with me because in my youth I was a gamer and my game of choice was Street Fighter. And I remember one time we used to play in arcades, not on the consoles, and there was a crew of 6 of us where we were all pretty good. And I remember coming to the arcade one day. I was late for whatever reason, and there was 2 guys and my second in command, who was Kwon. He was almost as good as me, and he used to give me some really good games, to be honest. And we walked in, and Kwon was just putting his coin in to play some guy I've never seen before. And then Kwon steps away and looks at me and says, he's beaten 2 of them already, 2 of our crew. I was shocked, because we were all quite good. So Kwon steps away and lets me join in. And the guy turns around to me and goes, it's not gonna matter. You're gonna lose just like them 2. Really? I was shocked, but also intrigued. So I said, okay, let's play. I proceeded to absolutely destroy him. So now I knew his level. So I swapped sides with him, let him play with Ryu, and I said, you know what? Choose any character for me. He chose who he thought was the weakest character, who was actually one of my strong characters, Zangief. I destroyed him again. Same scenario, I said, choose someone else for me. He proceeded to choose Darzin, and he was right. Now this was a much closer game, but again I won. And he walked out of the arcade dejected. But when he was going out the door, he turned around to me and said, you're good, but you're not as good as Ibraheem. The whole arcade erupted in laughter because I turned around and said, I am Ibraheem. So this just goes to show that he'd heard my name in the area as someone being good in the game, but he'd never actually seen me. But I kind of detracted from the whole point. The whole point is making money as a game. The more you practice the game, the more money you will make, as long as you know the rules. His rule number 3 was making money is a doubles game. Now, the natural question that a lot of people ask is, how do you find the next double? That's the whole game. So if you've got £1,000, your game should be, how do I get to £2,000 and in what time horizon? 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 16, 16 to 32, 32 to 64, 64 to 128, 128 to 256. 256 is only 2 doubles away, 512 and then 1,000,000. So that's the whole game. Now his rule number 13 kind of ties in with rule number 3, where it says play your game. So if you've got £8,000, your game should be trying to get to 16,000. You can't be looking at someone who's got 256,000. You're going to try and jump from 8,000 to 512. That's not the way it is. That's not one of the rules of the game. And that's how a lot of people take unnecessary risk and lose a double. No, if you're You know your finances. So first you should be trying to get out of debt. If you have positive cash flow, then you should be trying to find your next double. So again, if you're on like 16,000, try and get to 32,000. Don't try and go from 16,000 to 512,000 or straight to the million, because you'll end up losing a double. So the whole point of this short video and where I'm coming from is someone who is on their journey and what resources I'll be using to try and get there. Now, I've watched countless videos of people who've already made their millions, and without a doubt, it's some really valuable information. But I would have loved to have seen their documentation step by step on the way to financial freedom. And maybe I won't be able to replicate the process exactly, but honestly, I believe that the best way to succeed is to learn from someone who's just a few steps away from where you are right now. Not like tens of millions or hundreds of millions, just a few steps ahead. So hopefully we can make this a regular thing, and I'll see you in the next video.